Welcome to my channel. You're watching Home vs. House and I'm Lisa, and in today's video I'm going to share with you a fall tour of my living room. I'm going to talk about some of the DIY projects that I did in here and then also show you some thrifted ideas to create this rustic look. So here it is. So I will start with this wall here and go around. So I have one of my spider plants sitting on this table, and this table I originally got from Ross a few years ago. The top was painted a light bluish green, and then I had painted it over white some time ago, and recently I stripped the paint off of it and just went with this kind of natural look. So that's one of my DIY projects that I did in here. And then I just have this affirmation. It says, I am planted, deeply rooted, therefore I stand firm, not easily shaken. And I just printed it out on cardstock and put it in this Walmart frame that I already had. And so this is my little plant corner. But also this affirmation just reminds me, it keeps me reminded daily when things seems uncertain, when things are at an upheaval, it just keeps me grounded. So I have it sitting here. On the top here, I just have another spider plant on this thrifted shelf. And then over here I have a macrame. So this was a project that I recently did where I just got a hook from, I think it was Ace Hardware, and this is like a plant hook. And I hung this macrame here, and this macrame was a thrifted item, and I think I paid like 99 cents for it at the thrift store. I intend to put a small plant in there. I guess that's just to come. So I just have it set up here waiting for that plant. And that plant is in another room of my home currently. So up here, I kept my Amore sign, and I've tried to move it different places and put other things up there, but nothing seemed to work as well as this sign there, so I just moved it back here. Then I have this candle, and this was a thrifted candle, as well as the candle stand is thrifted, and it's just this metal kind of rustic look to it. And it was a bigger candle that I just cut in half and put the other one on that side. And then over here, I just have another spider plant sitting in a wooden bowl. And this bowl was also thrifted some years ago. And then I have another thrifted wooden bowl that I recently sanded down to give just kind of raw wood look. Down here I have one of my aloe vera plants that I recently bought inside because it was a little bit cooler at nights, and so I thought to bring it inside, and then in the mornings I'll bring it out to get some sun, so I preserve it. And it's sitting in a terracotta pot, and that color also goes nicely for fall as well too. It's one of my favorite kind of orangey red rustic color. So I have it sitting here, and then I have this ceramic vase that's also similar to the terracotta color of my aloe vera pot, or the pot with my aloe vera plant. And so I thought it would complement it on that side. And then over here, guys, I have to tell you about this shelf that was recently thrifted for 43 bucks. So like 2 years ago, I saw this shelf online and I really liked it and I thought it would do really great in this spot in my home. The only issue was that it was $499 and I just was not willing to spend that much money for a shelving unit. So I just kind of put it out of my head like that's probably not going to happen. And then lo and behold, it showed up at the thrift store and it, needless to say, it came home with me. And then I just have a few thrifted items sitting on this shelf. So up above the shelf is a poem that I wrote. So I do write some poetry and this is one of them. It's called Latter Rain. And I just printed it out on some cardstock paper and then I have it sitting in these 3 Walmart frames. So I had 2 of the frames already, so I just had to get a third one to be able to put them up there. And I have been looking for something for that space and everything else that I've put up there, I've never really been totally content with it, but I think I finally found a kind of permanent home or a permanent design here for this corner, because this poem goes, I think, with every season. It does have some spring or summer ring to it. It also has like a harvesty ring to it. So I'll read it out here to you. It says, "Your dew is unlike that of the first. Your droplets are less ravenous to the soul. A bounty is the result of your coming." And that last part about bounty just reminded me of harvest time, and I felt like we're going into the season of harvest time, so this works really nicely there. But to be quite honest, I plan to keep it up there throughout the year, so it'll have to work with each season. So over in this corner, I have these 3 wall sconces that were thrifted a few years ago. And it's got that orangey red rustic color, so I usually bring it out in the fall. And then I have my ladder that this was actually featured on my first YouTube video. And I talked about how I transformed my daughter's old headboard into a throw ladder. And so this sits out here. This curtain I also talked about in one of my previous videos. So this is like a drop cloth curtain. And then I just added some burlap at the end to give it some length. I do like my curtains not necessarily touching the floor, but I like it pretty close to the floor. And then I have my peace lily plant sitting in there. It's got a few blooms on there, so I'm really happy to see that. And I just have it sitting in a wicker basket that I'm using as a planter. Over on my sectional, I have this throw that I usually put out in the fall, and I think this originally came from TJ Maxx a few years ago, one of their fall clearance item, and it's got that reddish orangey look to it. That's my pop of color for the fall, so it works nicely there. It's showing up more red on camera, but it's a little bit closer to the sconces up here that I've showed. So it's a little bit in real time, it's a little bit closer to this color. And then I also have my DIY throw pillow that I recently, it was an old throw pillow that I had, and I just covered it with this It's actually 4 placemats that I got, and I think I got it from TJ Maxx around the same time I got this through. So it was probably about 5 or so years ago. And it's my little accent pillow. And then this other throw pillow in front of it, I also did recently from some just fabric that I had already in my supplies. So as you can tell from my other videos, I love DIY. That's a way for me to personalize my home, to put my handprints on my home. And so every opportunity that I see and that I know I'm capable of to do DIYs in my home, I try to do that. This other throw pillow I have a video that showed like my DIY throw pillows, and so I featured this throw pillow and what I did to kind of give that fringe look to the end. So I will link that video below. But throw pillows, I love to use fabric that I have and just recover old throw pillows each season. These other 2, Bless This Nest and Happiness is Homemade, I picked those up at the beginning of spring from Family Dollar. And so it is that neutral color that I like. So it may be here throughout the different seasons with just some other set of accent pillows. And then up here, I have this bigger macrame that was also thrifted. So I think I paid about $5 for this. And I have one of my pothos plant sitting in there. It's that rich brown color that really I like every season. I could use it in my home every season, but this also just is that rich brown that I see a lot in the leaves and just the natural elements outside during the fall. So this was a recent score at the thrift store. And then if we come around to here on this shelf, I have this "You're My Favorite Hello" and my "Hardest Goodbye" sign. And this was thrifted for like 50 cents, guys. And it originally came from Hobby Lobby. It's got my fall colors that I like to use in my home for the fall. And so it's sitting up here with a thrifted silver jug, and then a thrifted candle, that brownish maple color. That's great for the fall. I'm going to swing back over here to this shelf because I forgot to show you this side. So on this shelf, I had another shelf out here before, a black shelf, and then I just swapped it out with this other shelf and I painted it. This shelf was originally a brown wooden color and I painted it white just to have some kind of cohesiveness in this room. And then I have this rustic star. It just screams fall to me. And so I have it here with another one of the candles, like the one I have on the other side. And then I have one of my spider plants up here as well. And then these 3 prayers I had also talked about in a previous video. So it was a prayer that I wrote, and I have them sitting here. I printed it out on cardstock paper some time ago. I've had it sitting in other spots in my home, but this has been here for almost a year, and so I really like it in this spot. I haven't moved it in a year, and before that I had been moving it around quite a bit. Now I'm going to come over to my coffee table, and I didn't really do much. Before, I had a tray sitting out here, and I just removed the tray. I have a few coasters that I picked up from Dollar Tree some years ago, and then this galvanized vase was a recent thrifted find that I think I paid $3 for, and it's that heavy galvanized that I can find good use for throughout the seasons. So I have it sitting out here for now, and that's all I really have on this table. So lastly, I want to feature this wall, guys. So I have been struggling with this wall for some years to try to tie it into the rest of the living room. And I had this DIY project that I also talked about in one of my previous videos. This window, old window that I repainted. I picked it up from the Restore, and I repainted it and got a stencil that says "Count Your Blessings" from Hobby Lobby, and then I just stenciled it on there. However, this shelf, this plank of wood, is what I really want to talk about up on this wall. So this was a recent project that I did. I've been looking for something else for this wall. I didn't want to put a piece of furniture here because this is a walkway and it's a pretty high traffic area in my home. And so I didn't want to put something bulky there where you have to try to dance around so you don't run into it, but I wanted something else there. And I recently took a trip to the Restore, the Habitat for Humanity Restore, and I saw this piece of wood for $4.50, guys. So I definitely made a decision for it to come home with me. And when I saw it, I immediately thought about using it on my fireplace as a mantle or to add to my mantle, or using it here. And I decided I wasn't going to touch my fireplace because I had done some work there about 2 years ago. And so this was the next spot that I decided I would try this. And so what did I do with it? So it was pretty much a raw piece of wood. And so I sanded it down, and then I ended up getting 2 Walmart like shelf brackets, and these black ones, and I think they were like $1.49 for it. Originally, I tried to hang the plank of wood on the wall, and after 4 hours of trying to get it straight and patching up dents and things like that I put in my wall, I had another idea to just get some bracket and put it on it, and that took little or no time. And then it's a pretty narrow piece of wood. So what I ended up doing was I got some metal sheets from the Habitat for Humanity Restore, and I just added the metal on the top to extend it out to the wall here, and then I painted the metal. So the metal for one sheet I paid $1.50, and this is the metal tubing that they use on like heating vents and things like that. And so it came already cut in the middle, and so I just hammered it down to flatten it out, and then I had my son help me cut it to a size that will fit there, and I have that here, and it really gives a nice rustic look to things, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So I think I finally found a something that I'm really content with in this space, and pretty much every member of my family likes this piece of or plank of wood where it's at. And then I have my trumpet guy sitting there like he's announcing "Count Your Blessings." And then I have these were some eucalyptic branch that I had gotten from Hobby Lobby some years ago. and I have it sitting up here as well. I thought it complemented this this shelf, and it also complements the rest of the room, as I have that rustic red color throughout. And then this wreath was a DIY project that I did with some faux greenery that I had. So on the back side it's green, but then on the other side it's brownish red. I had it already in my collection, and I just made this wreath with it. So guys, that is it for my fall tour of my living room. As you can see, I really don't go really traditional, I guess, and maybe traditional is not the right word for it, but I don't do a lot of pumpkins and gourds and things like that. I do some of that in my family room for the fall, and that's going to be another video. But in this living room, I really try to keep it neutral. Actually, throughout my home, I try to keep it neutral. And each season, I will bring some elements from outside for this season in terms of color, and things like that. But I just keep it at that. I love fall. Fall is one of my favorite, actually it is my favorite season. I like it because it's milder temperature outside. And I love to see the fall leaves, the leaf change its color. And again, I like to bring some of that natural kind of dried out look in my home without being too overwhelming. So I hope you enjoyed this tour. I hope you got some really good ideas for your home as well too, where you can spend very little and still have a beautiful home, something that speaks the season that we're in. So guys, thanks again, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.